So they no longer want to eat their food, right? Because now they've tasted all other kinds of things. And I bring them some waffle from the breakfast downstairs in the hotel. You want a waffle? Come get it. You want some waffle too? They're spoiled.
Hola familia, bienvenidos to our channel, Why Not Now? My name is Steven, and this is my beautiful wife, Lisa Marie. So what are we going to talk about today, baby?
We are going to discuss the reasons why we left Oaxaca, why Oaxaca City did not work for us. We promised you a video, and here it is. Now, these are just going to be 5 of the primary reasons, and we'll elaborate just a bit. Keep in mind there are other minor things, but these are the primary reasons why we decided that Oaxaca would not be a good living situation for us personally. It may be different for you, and we always encourage you to go and visit a city for yourself and see what it's like for you. These are just our opinions and our experiences. So we will begin with number 1.
Number 1. First off, like my wife was saying, this is our experience. So, number 1, pollution. As you guys know, my wife has asthma. I have a slight case of like bronchitis where smoke, burning trash, and just burning fires and things like that, it can bother me. You guys see when we were showing our apartment tour in Oaxaca, we were showing you that in the morning, you see this thick like smog going over through the mountains. And also we noticed that the locals are burning trash, they're burning just a lot of things over there, and that's the norm over there.
Right.
What we were seeing, and we asked around, and that was a normal thing over there. So that's one of the problems that was a problem for us, the pollution, and it was making it hard for us to breathe.
Right, and when we were down there, it was still, it was winter time, but it was really warm. It's surprisingly warmer, just a tad bit, than Queretaro, where we originally moved to. When we first came down to Mexico, when we first got our temporary residency, we moved to Queretaro. For those of you who've been following us all along, you do know this, but just for those who are popping in, are new to our channel now, we want you to know we have temporary residency videos, we have videos on many apartment tours in Queretaro, neighborhood tours, a plethora of information. Check out our video library. I'm sure there's going to be something there that will benefit you.
Absolutely.
So, as my husband just mentioned, the pollution, and we lived in the barrio of Aurora when we were in Oaxaca, which was up in the mountains, and I know that could have probably caused between the heat, because it was fairly warm, the regular life there with the locals. They're burning trash, they're burning grass. That's normal to them. If you don't have any respiratory issues, you may be completely fine. For us, it was quite difficult. I was having a hard time breathing. We couldn't open the windows for fresh air. It's not common to have an air conditioner over there, so you need to be able to open the windows and get that fresh air. And it was problematic, so that obviously did not work for us.
Now, so may I jump in real quick to rewind back in our life when we were over in the United States. Boise, Idaho was like that as well. They had a fire season. And when there was a fire season going on, we used to have to put on the mask. Of course, I worked for the post office. You guys know the government. We used to have to put the mask on, and that was a problem.
Yeah.
It was hard to breathe over there.
That's right. You did have a hard time breathing.
Yeah.
And when we didn't experience the fire season, and it was a dry, beautiful climate.
Beautiful. It
was lovely. Never had any issues. But during that time, when it got really heavy, it was really difficult. We'd have to close all the windows and put the AC on. So.
Yep.
Okay, I will get into number 2. If you see me looking down from time to time, I have my little handy dandy notepad here. Number 2 is we couldn't find an apartment to suit our needs. Now, your experience may be different. We have 2 small dogs. We have a Yorkie and a Morkie. They're toy, so they're very, very tiny. And even though they're tiny, for whatever reason, people just don't want pets in the apartment. So within the budget that we were looking for, as well as for our needs, we needed a furnished apartment. We wanted an area that wasn't completely too isolated, needed to be walkable. When that first apartment, when we were living there for a while, and we realized, okay, this is not going to work, we can't breathe here, and we tried to hit the ground running again to find another apartment. And we looked at many options. We actually showed you a clip. It was a video that we showed a snippet of a
snippet of
a small like studio type apartment, but it was overpriced in our opinion. It was really kind of dingy looking. It had like a garage entrance. It had a glass sliding door. They had a shared bathroom on the outside. It wasn't comfortable, and it was over there in Xochimilco. Right,
right on the
Xochimilco.
outskirts of Xochimilco, and it was a main street over in that area. And also there was another apartment in Xochimilco. As you guys check out our Xochimilco walking tour video,
Right.
where they had it, beautiful furnished apartments with views and everything.
That's what it said on the sign.
That's what it said. But you look inside, it looks like a cell block. And
Yeah, it's
a
dark
prison
and
block.
looking.
Yeah, it was dark, so it just wasn't working for us, and that was hard for us to find that option that would work for us.
Yeah, so we ended up, we kept extending Airbnbs and spending extra cash unnecessarily, trying to keep looking for an apartment that we could settle into, and that just, we just ended up, wasting a lot of money, honestly. And we decided, we gave it our best shot. We're not finding something that's suitable for us and our needs, so we're gonna have to pick up and we're gonna have to figure it out. So, number 3.
Don't get mad at us. Don't shoot the messenger. We're going off what we were seeing and what we were experiencing, guys. Number 3, crime. Crime has heightened down there tremendously over there in Oaxaca.
Yeah.
And you don't have to just take our word for it. You can go to the Facebook expat, what's it called? Facebook.
Go to Oaxaca Expat Forum. I want you to thumb through and just scroll through there for a while, and you're going to see numerous accounts of people being mugged, people finding people's belongings that were just strewn all over the floor, and asking, hey, was anybody mugged lately?
Yeah.
It is a huge problem there. I don't know now, because that was our first time going to Oaxaca. I would like to hear from people that were living in Oaxaca for many, many years. Did you see this going on before, or is it something that's very new in the last couple of years? But it seems to be very problematic. We know that it is a state that has one of the most extreme poverties in all of Mexico. I think it's Oaxaca, Queretaro, and Chiapas. But I don't want to judge, because I understand the people there, they're hungry, and they're hungry in more ways than one, right? They want to feed their families. I don't, condone, I don't encourage people sticking people up at knife point or doing these type of things, but I'm just trying to look at it, from an unbiased perspective, and I can imagine them being a local, they see foreigners coming there, they're walking around having their coffee, going to restaurants, and they're just trying to feed their families. So I'm sure some of those people are just trying to get by. Others, of course, are just wanting to have things and doing the wrong things, obviously.
And also, we've talked to a lot of locals over there, and a lot of locals was warning us to not go out at night by yourself, especially my wife being a female, because, of course, kidnapping of women going on over there, raping and kidnapping. The crime has started coming into Oaxaca Central. A lot of people during the daytime too. Like they pull up on the motorbikes,
snatch phones,
and they snatch phones.
Earrings.
They're doing anything, and they were telling us not to go past certain areas, and they were telling us just to be careful, be on high alert. And on our Oaxaca Central walking tour video, you guys didn't really notice it or not. We didn't really show it. But while we were out about to film in front of the Mercado, November 20th Mercado.
We actually, so we were told by the locals, don't go far south from the Zocalo area, because that's where a lot of these crimes happen. And of course, we always challenge everything, not because we just want to see for ourselves and give you the truth and pass that information on. But what we did notice was we had our own experience where someone was looking at our camera.
Somebody was, I pulled the camera out and we noticed.
We were talking in English to each other.
We're very attentive. My wife and I, we pay attention to a lot of things. We keep our head on the swivel at all times, and that's what we tell you guys. When I pulled the camera out, the guy just started beelining right towards me.
And he had his backpack, and he just kind of looked like
trying to fill it out.
Up to no good.
Trying to fill it out. But then he got the vibes. He realized that it's not going to be this easy task, a snatch and go type of situation. And he came up trying to befriend me.
He did. He put his hand down. He was like,
mi amigo.
And then my husband
I just looked him dead in his eyes and just
gave
put
him
my
a fist
out.
and he was like,
And he'd be like that, and he kept it moving.
And he smirked and kind of just, it was really odd.
It was up to no good. He was up to no good. But that happened, and you guys didn't know that because of course we didn't show it. But immediately after that, we were started back filming.
Yeah, and also we were in the process of staying in Airbnbs trying to find another suitable apartment. We talked to one of the gals, and she runs multiple Airbnbs. She'll go and make sure the trash bins are moved, make sure the apartments are looking good. And she told us, she said, we were having this long conversation, chatting with her for about an hour about different things. She was fluent in Spanish. She had been living in Mexico for years, been in Oaxaca for a few years. And she said that actually it was really, dumb of me to come out here. I came here early in the morning before you guys came to get everything straightened up, and I moved I dragged the trash bins out to the front. It was like 6 a.m., but I shouldn't have done that. And I said, why?
Yeah.
What was the problem? And she said, well, because, women over here, a lot of them go missing. There are a lot of attacks towards women. And I mean, just in general in Mexico, we all know this. We did a recording of a protest that happened in Queretaro for women's rights. It's going on through all of Latin America, but she said in Oaxaca, it's really, really prominent there, and you have to really, really pay attention as a woman. Be really, really careful.
So please pay attention when you go down to Oaxaca, because crime is on the rise. Just look at the news, just go to the Facebook groups, and just ask around. So please be careful when you go down to Oaxaca.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll take the next one, which is expensive. So I'll start with saying this. Everyone's idea of what's expensive will be different. I mean, your budget is going to be different than ours, right? Maybe you have a pension coming in, and maybe to you, you're completely fine. We have to stay on budget, and we have a certain limit. We don't eat out all the time. I primarily cook at home. It's been really difficult lately because with all of this, we've been displaced for a while now. And we've been having to dish out money to, eat out because it was hard with the cooking in multiple hotels and then going to an Airbnb, and just it's been really chaotic for us, honestly. So we noticed that we went to cafes, and to us the prices of the coffees and things were comparable to some places in the U.S. And to me, what I'm gonna say is this: I look at when I'm in a particular city, I look at the cost of living to the income ratio. So when I see how, the income, what the average income is there, I don't understand why coffee should cost $4. I'm sorry. I just don't agree with that. It doesn't make sense to me. If the numbers add up, they add up. But I guess that, maybe they're catering more towards foreigners in certain areas, because I was in Xochimilco and in Centro, and they probably figure if you're coming out to go out there to have a dinner or a coffee, then you probably can afford it, because the people who really can't, they just don't do it at all. This is just my thought on it.
Yeah, and they had a lot of rooftop restaurants over there, and it was just a lot of, looks very expensive, to be honest with you. And like my wife was saying, what we feel could be expensive would be different from you guys.
Right.
But we're two different, we have two different things going on. But over in Queretaro, I did a short over there at Del Gu Cafe. I recommend you guys go and check out Del Gu Cafe over in Queretaro. Get a cup of coffee for 28 pesos. I mean, a nice, good cup of coffee. He's a roastery, and he gets his coffee from Oaxaca. He gets his coffee from
Veracruz,
Chiapas, all over Puebla, And his coffee is great, and it's presented well and everything. So you get a good cup of coffee over there. And in Querétaro, the coffee was somewhat pricey, I guess, but being that it's a middle class city,
that would make
it would kind of make sense,
right?
And that's all over Querétaro, but
Querétaro being upper middle class city, a beautiful city.
Beautiful city.
You could understand maybe why a coffee would cost $3 and things like that if you.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Last.
I don't want to say it too loud. The taxi mafia. And that's what someone had mentioned to us. Yeah, the taxi mafia over there is real. And yes, guys, the taxi mafia over there, it is real. I mean, we can take a 5-minute drive and you walk up to the taxi and say, hey, how much to take me over here?
To go up the hill.
Just to go up the hill. He gonna immediately say 70 pesos, 80, 70, and it's like, come on, man, that only should be 30 pesos.
Yeah.
And they do that a lot. And also, another thing that happens when it's a block, down in Oaxaca, they do a lot of protests, just like over in Puebla. They do protests as well. Mm-hmm. But down in Oaxaca, when they do the protests, the taxis would tell you it's a block. They would do this right here. And I think that they take that they use it to their advantage at times. And then they hike it up. Instead of it being 70 pesos or 60 pesos, they turn it into 120. One guy actually told us 120 pesos to go to the Chedraui.
No way.
Yeah, we was like, no way. But then a local guy right in, and I'm like, hold on, there's a block going on. How much is he paying?
Yeah, he said because of the blockade, it's going to be more. And he kind of was just like chuckling. I mean, obviously you can tell we're foreigners. We didn't blend. In Querétaro, it was easier to blend in, but in Oaxaca, I think we stood out like a sore thumb. Plus, we were living in the local area, so keep that in mind. We showed you we lived in an extremely steep hill, so I mean, Very steep. Very
You
steep.
guys think it's a joke? Nobody was jogging up and down that hill, working out or exercising,
No.
carrying kettlebells. Yeah, nobody was doing that.
It's hard. Yeah, it's really hard. The locals who live up top there, I give them a lot of credit because I've never, and we've lived in all kinds of areas, and we've seen some steep hills. We've traveled a lot throughout the U.S. And it was incredible how steep that hill was. But just to go up, you would see even locals, they would be at the bottom of the hill and they would try to get a taxi just to get up the hill because they had a couple of bags of groceries and it was too much for them. Yeah. So the taxi mafia is real. We mentioned this as we do all of our other videos. We always give you gems and little pieces of information, things that we've learned, mistakes that we've made to try to help you transition to Mexico, to help you prepare when you come to any other city in Mexico. And we talked about, how there's no Uber in Oaxaca. We talked about that there's only Didi. And Didi, you gave your opinion on Didi.
Well, I gave my opinion on Didi. Yeah, Didi, they collectively joined together with the taxis.
The yellow taxis.
The yellow taxis down there. I think all taxis. And they use Didi, and I get in a Didi ride, and the Didi may say 40 pesos. And then as I'm going, it's going up. Right. So it's kind of like they can do what they want to do with the Didi thing.
And even though you selected...
I selected just a regular fare, like that flat fee, not metered. It can change. And I do understand that the longer you're in the car, but we weren't in the car that long and it had changed.
Yeah, immediately.
That's why I like Uber, and the Uber doesn't really exist down there. You have Uber Eats some places, but not all. And also another thing I want to say real quick, when they say it's a block, the block will block a street, like the garbage man down there, they may block the street because they're not being paid by the government.
The sanitation workers are having a problem right now.
Yeah, so they may block a street, and it's set up like a box. From what I was seeing, we over there in the Reforma area. I'm being a mailman, post office. I'm kind of I get used to the surroundings, and all they would have to do is go down like one or two streets, and they avoid it. But they say that they have to go all the way around, and sometimes they would trick you if you don't know where you're going. That's why you always have to. With the Uber, you could look at your your directions, but with the taxi, you just have to depend on them unless you're familiar with the area. And being familiar with the area, I'm looking like, wait a minute, why is he going through all these turns and going way over here when all he had to do is cross over? But
you know what?
That's our experience.
The locals warned us about that. They said about the buses. They said, be careful when you go and you want to go take a ride. They're going to see you and they're going to upcharge you. They told us.
They told us.
Pepe. They warned us.
Yeah, Pepe told us that at the coffee spot.
Pepe had, what cafe was that? Do you remember the name? Antigua?
Yeah,
he's in Xochimilco.
Yeah, Antigua. And
nice guy.
He's over there. If you familiar with Xochimilco, go over there by the Ancestral restaurant. But then you have to go down. It's like a little alleyway, and you see Ancestral Coffee over there. Jose is over there.
No, not Ancestral Coffee. Antigua
Coffee. I'm sorry. Ancestral's restaurant is going to be on your right hand side. Then you go down like a little alley. It's kind of like a little bridge thing, and you go through there. You go up to the Antigua.
Passageways in Oaxaca, in Xochimilco anyway. So you know what? Before we end it, something just popped in my head. You know what else? I want to back up a little bit to the apartments. For those of you who have already seen our casita tour, we were renting. We were living there for easily over 6 months in our casita. We had our own private little casita, little private patio, and we were paying $10,000, and it included like cable, internet, water,
included everything
except for like if the electric and gas went over like $1,500, then we'd be responsible for that excess. So and we were living in Queretaro, and we could walk to Centro within maybe 12 minutes. So I didn't understand why we couldn't find a nice place in Oaxaca for right under 10. It just wasn't adding up to me. So that's just it. But so make sure you check out our last video to give you a clue. We were on the beach. Those of you who already know, we did a few videos there. We considered living by this beautiful beach city, but we realized it wasn't right for us, and we know where we're going next. You're gonna be tickled, so stay tuned. You're gonna find out. But we realized there are certain things that we like. Yeah. And I'm not gonna say it because you're gonna know right away. So we learned, with the traveling, but once we find our next temporary home base, we can't wait to go ahead and explore. I should say find. We know where it is.
Yeah.
Once we let you guys know where it is. And we'll explore, you know, around those areas and do little trips, and at least we'll have our just, because we travel and we realize we like slow travel. We just don't like the freaking travel. With our little two little dogs,
It's
you
tough.
know, with our little Yorkie, Joe Pesci, we did the vet expenses video. He had special tests done in Queretaro. We gave you all the pricing. He has seizures. He's on medication for that. We talked about that in the video. We talked about all the expenses, the testing. You know, he has motion sickness. You can only imagine. We did a travel story, Oaxaca from Queretaro to Oaxaca Airport, and we threw in our little jokes there how that experience was. Check that out. I'll pin it in the comments, in the pin comment below. But it's interesting to travel with a dog that has motion sickness and seizures. It's exhausting at the same time. But
So we've been living in Mexico for a while, man. So make sure you.
It'll be a year and a half, in like 2 months.
Yeah, be a year and a half. So check out all our Queretaro videos, especially check out our neighborhood tours. Check that one out. But we're very thorough. That's the thing. We're very thorough. Our videos may be a little bit longer than some, but we're very thorough.
It's for a reason.
And we want to show you how it really looks in the area we walk around. So that's why our videos are more thorough. My wife, she does an excellent job doing the temporary residency videos. How to obtain them, and of course we have another one coming where she's gonna show you the renewal process, how that would work.
I am so sorry, guys, because of all of this displacement and all of this. I am way delayed on, I promised you all, the renewal of the temporary residency video, a breakdown, just as detailed as we did the first two. We did 2 videos on how to obtain your temporary residency. We have a part 1, which is when you are in the United States, going to the embassy there, the consulate, what you need. I show you the website, what to click on, everything. Then the part 2 is when you come to Mexico, what you have to do within 30 days of arriving in Mexico. I show you the websites, what to click on, the forms, everything. I've been hearing from multiple people. I think of one off the top of my head, Michael. I think he just got his. He thanked me for the temporary residency. Thank you, Michael, for sharing that appreciation. It really means a lot, because when we do that hard work, it really does mean a lot to hear your appreciation, your thanks, your support, whether it be financially, whether it be if that video was helpful, just take it and post it on social media, share it with a friend. That helps us. That we appreciate. Give us a like. You know, any way that you can support us, we are so grateful from the bottom of our hearts. So we're glad to hear that our content is helping, help people transition to Mexico. We're grateful for that.
Very grateful for that.
So we'll end it as we always do.
Do we want to end it? Do we not want to end it?
I don't know. Well, we got places to go. We have some appointments.
Yep.
Future videos to come.
All right.
So live the life that you're meant to live. Keep a grateful heart even when it gets hard.
Remember, why not now? All right, guys. Peace. See, I shouldn't have listened to your ass, man.